into existence. So see and meet our ancestors, say hi to our grand great fathers, see how they were, and how life started. So everything was there. What happened million and billion years ago was that we were just like apes living on the uh, uh, trees. Food was abundant, but what happened was, due to scarcity, there was some atmospheric changes. The forests were destroyed, so the need came up that we have to come down from the trees to the land. Now if we have to come down from the trees to the land, the evolution is very intelligent, huh? So when we were to this ape age, what happened was we had to walk down from the trees. So we had long hands so that we can jump from one tree to the another tree. But when the forests were devastated, deforestation took place, we had to come down to the land. But if I am on the land, it became very difficult for me with these long limbs to cover so long distance, because I have to travel from one continent to even another for search of food, because survival was very difficult. So what I learned was to walk on my feet. Gradually, I started walking, becoming erect. But then, what happened? The female side, the sexuality had also grown up. But because at this age, till now, the what we say, the pelvic area was not that much developed, so it was very difficult to carry, as a mammal, to carry the birth sorry, the carry the infant inside and just move around so long distances. Therefore the pelvis started taking shape, and then we have a feminine pelvis which is wide and broad, because we have to carry it for days and we have to even walk. With this age, it is really very difficult to carry it in the womb. But when we become erect with a wide pelvis, this is how our pelvis took place. And even the jaw lines. Before we were on the trees, everything was abundant. So the chewing, the jaws were not that firm. The jaw did not have that articulation so firm. But gradually, as advancement, we had to chew the non-veg or the animals, and we had to develop the sharp canines so that tearing and chewing was easy, and this is the way the jaw lines had developed. And as we were advancing to the Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, they had a very good jawline. See the advancement, the foot was taking into shape, the hands were taking into shape, and as we were advancing more and more, the sharp hands had to take its own posture so that the grip becomes very firm. We learned to live in groups, we learned to live in communities, we learned what is a family, we learned how to live in the social life. So this is where the socialism started. Even in the skulls, as we see that the jaw has developed, the teeth has become sharpened, and this is what we were years ago. And even the brain volume, they say that small brain volume was there, and because we did not use, but still the cortex, the neocortex is something in the brain which is the most recent brain and has got long large number of neurons. But as survival started over here, it became that we started using our brain. We started understanding, this is my enemy, this is my friend. I had to go from one place to another. So this place is different, that place is different. This is someone who is going to destroy me. So the brain started developing and the brain started using. So we started using the things which were there in our hand. We started using tools. We started using stone. This was the Stone Age. So the brain is still developing. Here you can see the flat frontal cortex or the frontal part. And in children of mental retarded ages, if you see this frontal edge is depressed, you can see that they have less intellect, the social behavior is not developed. If you know that our ancestors used to say, our grandparents used to say, chौड़ा माता है, मतलब they are very intelligent. That means their cortex, the frontal cortex, the neocortex is sharp enough and developing, and therefore we used to say that a broad forehead is an indication that we are intelligent. So this is where we developed. We started from that fish age to the mammals, and here how our brain is advancing. So the memories which were there from the mammals, from their rat, you remember when the dinosaur age I told you, so those small creatures who had to fight for anything, they used to have those goosebumps because of that fear, because of that fright. And still today, if we have something which is fearful, scary, we are faced to it, we are enthusiastic, we get those goosebumps. So still in our evolution, we have not forgotten what we have learned. There are some instincts which are still present. There is an instinct of survival. If you see lot of water body, you tend to prevent. You don't have to teach someone that this is water which is dangerous. Fire, you know that fire is a danger because this has been experienced. A thunderstorm, you know that this thunderstorm, heavy rains can kill you. So these instincts are there imbibed through these evolutionary generations to you till date. And it is not only these environmental changes, but all the experiences which we have. A deer has never to be taught by any training institute that how you have to protect yourself from a lion. That is there in the instinct. So that is the survival instinct what we have. This is nothing. This survival instinct is nothing but what Hahnemann Sir says about Sora. This is the Sora which is being transferred from generations to generations to generations. Need for survival. The basic fundamental unit of life is to survive. So the basic Sora is need of survival, the primary defense of a human being. So here the evolution started and the brain is developing from the fish to a cat to a chimpanzee to a human being. So if I say that chimpanzee was a forefather and we have met our great ancestors, so they are also very intellectual creatures. They love each other. They believe into family. They believe into sharing bonds, love and care, love and affection. We have seen many videos where chimpanzees, even if they meet their caretakers years after, they still have that affection. So this instinct of family, this instinct of social behavior has been transferred from these apes to the humans. Still today, we have that instinct. But what is happening? This instinct, we are devastating. We are coming towards syphilis, lot of psychosis. We don't want to give progeny, we don't want to have fertile children, we don't want to have fertility. We say, as I hear from most of the patients, I'm not a machine to give birth only to the children, I am something which I exist. So we are destroying this instinct, giving rise to lot many cases of polycystic ovarian diseases, or to the cases of infertility and lot many congenital disorders. So from where this has intruded, we are breaking the nature's law. The nature's law was to give love, to give existence, to share love and compassion. So what we are breaking, that instinct of love, giving rise to the syphilis. So going ahead, we have our own memories, what is being transferred. We have an individual memory and a collective memory which is coming to us from lot many years, and we have an episodic memory after what we are facing an episode. So example, that the mammals had faced a threat from water, so that memory is still there inside us. And that collective memory can be there because we had some collective experiences of our past. That after traveling certain roads, I met with an accident. It was a very horrifying event that has went inside, deep inside my mind, giving me that experiences. If I belong to certain community, I have my own cultural experiences, cultural belief system which are there, and these all belief system, the learnings, the memories are deep imbibed inside us, which affect the whole evolution. If you had a bad experience, you will not like to have that bad experience again. You will take a learning from that experience, adapt so that you don't fall into the pit again. Example I will take, if you were passing through a road and you knew that वहां पर अगर मैंने 100 की स्पीड में गाड़ी चलाई थी, because the road is not good, I met with an accident, I broke my leg. So that was an learning. So when again I am into that path, I will not drive with the speed of 100, but I will reduce my speed to 20, 30, so that I can maintain the balance and I don't lose that balance and meet with an accident. So my primary defense is to survive, to protect myself. So that has gone into the memory. It can be logical, it can be experience also. Now, as we all know, we started a life from reptiles and we have grown to the human beings. So, you all know that there is a part in our brain which is called as a reptilian brain, because this is the most ancient brain which we have still existence, the amygdala. This is something which we say. Now please hold on with me, I will not go very fast, because this becomes very very important. Understand the parts of the brain I will tell you. This is the reptilian brain. Remember one part, the limbic system brain, that is emotions, empathy, and parental, that is mammalian brain, and this is the neocortex, which is still developing, still evolving. As we are advancing, this neocortex is still growing. The sulcus and gyri are still changing over a period of time as we are entering the new era of artificial intelligence. This neocortex is still advancing, but what instincts we had got from millions of years is stored over here in this reptilian complex. This is our sora, where the soric evidences are still there. And this reptilian complex brain is not under our control. This is an involuntary part of the brain. So we all know that this prefrontal cortex or the neocortex is full of neurons. Lot many neurons are adding on to it, and if you're repeating something 21 days, it will take a new neuron to build up, and therefore the synaptic connections along with your experiences are building every day. It gives you, this cortex gives you focus, attention, intelligence. This is what the human beings are gifted by, the reason gifted mind, because it is controlling you, it is giving you the capacity to judge, to plan. This is the new brain. So this is the most important part of our intellect. Then here is a limbic brain which controls your movements, where the cerebellum is in the lower part, but here is the whole limbic system which comes up, where the emotions, memory are being gathered. The emotions and memories of the past are also being gathered over here. These are the animal instincts. Then this is the reptilian part, that is again the basic part of existence. If you remember, in the ocean life, the first need was existence. If you survive, then only you will grow. So the survival. So if you know, going ahead, so this is a neocortex which gives you thoughts, language, imagination, whereas the lizard brain or the reptilian brain is fight or flight mechanism, brainstem, cerebellum, which is not under your control. You cannot control your heart, you cannot control your breathing, whatever. It is just autonomous autopilot. You can have your old memories out of which you make decisions. So that is your mammalian brain. So survival physiology is here in the midbrain, pons, medulla, basilar artery. This is your brain stem. This brain stem is important for your survival. And you all know, guys, that this survival instinct was given to us from God so deep inside that you cannot control it. The most important part of pons, medulla, they are holding the control system of all the major physiological process which are required for survival. If you know that in ischemic strokes, in diseases where the brainstem injury happens, the survival, all the sensory systems are shut down and just survival. We put the patient on ventilator, we put the patient on artificial respiratory system for the survival. It is so important, but it is not under your control. All the systems which we have evolved through the generations, it is there stored in this memory. And it is also said that this brain stem, also the medulla part, contains memories of your past life also, past generations also. Therefore, when you see something threatening, which is threatening to the life, you don't need to be taught, it is already there inside you. You know that this is dangerous, it is not to be taught to you. Then the medulla or the medulla oblongata, I will not go into intricacies, but still it carries all the functions of breathing, swallowing, heart rate. Is important part of the brain. It is involuntary, as I've already told, and it is also crucial mechanisms of the body is being controlled. That is the blood pressure and the breathing. Then the pons, the pontine hemorrhages, as you all know, are the most dangerous hemorrhages and very difficult for a patient to revive if the pons is getting affected by an ischemic stroke. So it is a relay system where the sensory impulses pass from the cerebellum, go down to the limbic system, or the lower part of the body. So it connects the forebrain to the hindbrain. It regulates the breathing. A person who has got a poor pons development will have a poor respiratory system. So we all know that our brain is again divided. So this is all evolutionary. We know that the first part which has developed was the brain stem, then the midbrain, hindbrain, and then the cerebral hemisphere, or the cerebellum, or the cerebrum, what we say. So all the intellect is what we have attained through these millions of years in the later half. Before that, we were just fighting for the struggle of survival. Our mammals were fighting for the struggle for our instincts for survival, that is sexual instincts, the sexual processes for our progeny. I want to live the survival process. Again and again, I'm telling you, because this is all important when we deal with our mental retarded kids. Because when mental retarded children are coming to you, their cerebral hemisphere, most of the ischemic injuries, or the baby did not cry before birth. ठीक है. So the most important thing which happens first is the respiratory stimulus coming up, the oxygen which is shut down because the baby did not cry, and therefore the blood supply to these brain cells are is diminished, and therefore you see that there is ischemic changes, there are brain sclerosis, and because of this the intellectual part doesn't grow, but still the baby is brought to you with all animal instincts. What we say, they chew, they bite, they don't know how to eat, they don't know how to socially behave, because that is gone. That was the part which was coming as a unit of cerebral hemisphere. What they can use, they don't have intellect to use their brain, but they are still surviving. They can eat. If you give them food, they will eat. If you give them water, they will drink. They are still surviving for years and years together, and years and years together, and therefore the neonatal child which is coming to you with some ischemic injury, you will find that the respiratory system somewhere might be hampered, but still over a period of time they are still living a vegetative life because the cerebral hemisphere is not developed. So they are with the basic instincts of survival. If you see a mentally retarded child, you will see that they have, in few children I have seen, they have a very strong sexual urge, very strong reproductive system. I have a child who has developed a menstrual cycle at the age of 6 years. 6 years she has started having regular menstrual cycle. I don't find hormonal disturbances in these children, because again their this system is working, their survival is working, they have got this control system which is working. So this is what we need to understand, and therefore when we are dealing with mental retarded cases, we don't give importance to the intellectual part, but we don't give importance to the animal behaviors. Sir would always say, if a child is biting in front of you, don't take biting, because this is common, because the survival instinct of this child is existent. They have got animalism, because this is the only part of the brain which is working. If they're biting, if they're chewing, if they are hurting animals, they are getting violent, don't take this only into consideration, because you are not treating it as a whole. The cause is deep behind. Don't take animal behavior into consideration, because it is this part of the brain which is carrying those instincts and which is carrying the survival instinct. Now, as we see in the midbrain, there is a process of visual and auditory. So we know that once we see things, we have to digest, we have to analyze, and then only we can consciously come up with the inputs and outputs. So consciousness is the part of midbrain. Then hypothalamus and the thalamus. So hypothalamus, as we know, that it is the master gland which is controlling the whole hormonal processes. It controls your emotions, autonomic functions, and hormonal productions. The pons, which is responsible for all the relay centers, and subconscious, somatic, and visceral motors centers. Pons is also somewhere in the midbrain. What we say that it carries even the memories of your past life. What is being said, I have read somewhere, because they say that how is it possible that few people carry past life memories? So somewhere they are being stored over here, because they are subconscious level workings. Then medulla oblongata, they have autonomic nervous system which regulates the visceral functions of your important survival instincts, that is your respiratory, cardiovascular, and digestive system. If you remember, this system was there in the primates. Now cerebellum is something which is slightly advanced system, but still which is complex somatic motor patterns, which helps us in coordination. This is our coordinator, motor, and functions. Therefore, in cases of cerebral palsy, where the cerebellum is not that developed, you find ataxic gait, there is spasticity, there is laxity. So this part of the brain which is getting affected. Now, coming to the most important part, the amygdala. Amygdala is something which is there, which is located deep within the temporal lobes, and this amygdala is responsible for the autonomic responses which are associated with the fight and flight responses. What we say, like a fear. If you are very excited, you are in a fear state, you don't have to show someone, you cannot voluntarily raise your goosebump. So goosebumps coming up, the emotional responses. A mother starts getting lactation once she hears the child weeping. So all these emotions, the attachments, the basic emotions of fear, fright, love, from where it is coming? It is coming from this beautiful system of amygdala. And since ages, we are with that love and compassion, that emotional attachments which are coming up, and those emotions, when they are not under control, you have that out of control behavior. And this amygdala is something which is switched on when you are under stress, under out of control emotions will give this amygdala to raise all its responses, and you start behaving like an animal. Like we say, in anger a person loses all its stimulus, and he starts throwing things, biting, chewing, whatever. In anger he loses all the controls. So amygdala is one of the most important part of the brain which has developed in ages, carrying all the experiences, how we have fought to all the situations. So if someone is coming in front of you, a tiger is coming in front of you, this amygdala will tell you, you don't have to do anything, whatever things will be done by the tiger, so you just have to give up. So this is what, or the amygdala will tell you, no, this tiger had hunted you before, so keep running, keep running, keep running till you have the energy and strength. Otherwise, just give up, everything the tiger will do. So this amygdala has those responses with fear, emotional responses, and associated with consolidatory memory, that is something from the past experiences, and hormonal secretions. Like if you are in love with someone, even a eye contact will give you a blink in the eyes, a smile on your face, and the thought also of that love person. See, I'm telling you, and that image has come in front of you, Ruchi Jain has evaporated, and the thought of that love person has brought a beautiful smile on your face. So this is what the amygdala has done to you. So this is fight and flight response, which I have taken before also in my lectures. Still, for the newcomers, I will say that this has developed over ages and ages. So when you are in this fight and flight response, so when you are under stress, your sympathetic system enhances and the parasympathetic system tries to balance during a certain stage, and this is fight and flight mode, what we say. So when you are fighting with someone, your sympathetic activity increases, your eyes become alert. If I tell you ki there is lion behind you, what will you do is first you will dilate your pupils, start searching something is there or not. You start getting scared, your heartbeat dhar, 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 dhar starts there. You start taking deep breaths. There is good 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 inside your stomach, and there is certain feeling that I have to run, and lot of adrenaline surge is there, because of which the extremities, there is blood surge to your lower extremities, and you become under stress, you become restless, you want to move here and there. So this is what happens. And one more thing, if that fear empowers you and overpowers you, you lose the control over your stools and urine. वो शेर को देखने के बाद शेर ही सब कुछ करता है, और आगे से गीला पीछे से, you know what happens. ठीक है. So in, and when you are under stress, and when I talked about that loved person, when I was talking about someone whom you love, you are with that protected family, you are in that family environment, and new year is approaching, and I tell you ki now you have to go for the new year party, so you are in a party mood. So what will happen when you are relaxed? So in your party mood, हाँ ठीक है, everything is fine, you want to enjoy all your senses, you want to enjoy that delicate music, just close your eyes and relax. You don't have to be alert. You feel like eating, relish all variety of foods, because that stimulates your digestive system. You want to enjoy everything what is being served on your table. And if tiger is there, if I give you a plate to eat, you will say, please keep this away, I have to run. I don't Then when a tiger is in front of you, don't smell a samosa, you won't smell an apple, right? But when you are in that party mood, you are relaxed, your heartbeat is slow, and definitely a romantic mood, which will stimulate your sexual organs also. So this is the whole journey. And